Thompson Productions.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you! You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
Oh, good evening, everybody. Tyler Yonke, LPR. What is that? 248. Let's look at the episode number here. It's important. 248. Coming to you with a little Van Halen, running with the D. Look, we got some people in the chat. Zach's in here. LFG. Good evening, Tyler. Hubbleson. We haven't seen you in a while. So when are they going to investigate who really killed Karen Reed's husband? Well, it wasn't her husband. JC, and look, people, this is Tyler Yonke. I'm a family. I'm trolling here. Let's see if we can get some Karen Reed viewers over here. Maybe join the channel. This will be nice. If you don't know me, I'm Tyler Yonke. I'm a family law attorney here in California. I know it's a Tuesday. I usually come in on Friday, so you guys may have other things going on. It's already Dead was out there with Jose. Jules, by the way, his producer's been drunk sending me the the stream link to join the show the last few, and the show's not even going on. Anyway, that's been happening. I know Ask Butt and Conspiracy Economy, they have their show going, but I'm here because I want to talk about some Karen Reed stuff. I've been fascinated with this trial. This is what's crazy. I'm an attorney, do family law, so criminal stuff's a little different, but there's a lot that's the same, okay? Especially the cross-examining, direct examination, re-examine, some of the technical stuff is different though, because civil procedure, criminal procedure, just different. It's in Massachusetts. So there's some differences going on here, but I'm fascinated with it. Now, I don't have time like Kurt and some of these other ones to just sit there and ignore my life and watch this trial. I watch it while I'm working and I pay attention, but I don't have time to just stream this. Okay. I can't do that. This is like a reverse OJ Simpson. I don't know what you mean by that, but ride the Karen Reed wave, boy. I'm trying to, let's see if we can have any wave. But I wanted to actually talk about this regardless if it's a wave or not. Now, if you guys don't know much about this case, I'll give you a quick overview. Karen Reed, decent looking chick. Is she on this? I think we have her on here. Yeah, it says she has on the right. She was dating this cop right here, Officer O'Keefe. And they're in Boston. Everyone's drunk. This whole town, they're just a bunch of shit. Okay, they're all out there drunk. This guy dies. Then they say it's her, and they're trying to pin her for, first of all, murder. They had a trial. It was hung jury, mistrial, hung jury, I think it was what it was. And but they retried her, so they're bringing it back, and it's like, okay, murder, it has an intent aspect to it. There's mens rea, right? This intent that must go with it, and I don't find that it's there at all, right? But here's what we have. So if you're watching this now, they're redoing this trial, and the people are split on all sides. But the crux of this is that they say that they're at this bar, all these cops and everybody, they go to this cop's house, okay? They have a little bit of a party. Now, her and her boyfriend, I don't know, she doesn't get out. And he gets out, and then they find him dead in the snow in the morning, and they're running her up for this. Now, at the house of this police officers, there appears to be the scratches on his arms, all this stuff. They're saying that the Commonwealth, the prosecutor, the state, they're saying that she intentionally hit him with her car and broke a tail light, blah, blah, blah. their injuries to me just do not line up for this. So there's a lot of hooey, and then there's a lot of this police department that is just looks like after the fact they're doing wild stuff. So the prosecution's already stopped their case. Matter of fact, the lead investigator for this case, Proctor, he's been fired because of his involvement in this case, that it was so bad. Okay, they in the retrial, they're not even the prosecution did not even bring him in to testify. That's and which is kind of a weird thing. But anyway, here we are. I'm going to talk to you now about yesterday's hearing. Okay, or the defense is now putting on their case, and they bring in. I'm going to show two detectives, okay? One yesterday and one today. Yesterday, and there's the one on here on the left-hand side, this dour-looking brunette chick, and I'm going to play some of her testimony. Now, just to give you back, and now maybe you guys all know this stuff, but I'm just, in case you don't, and you're breaking in here and you're like, hey, this is interesting. This was investigated by the FBI because of the police department. There's two police departments that were involved here. It was investigated by the FBI. They hired their own accident reconstruction team. They then come and testify, and the FBI, put this thing to bed. But they had officers testifying before them. Now, remember something here. You see this all the time with Trump, Comey, and if you lie to the FBI, it's a crime. If you lie to the police, it's not a crime, okay? And the police lie to you all the time. But the FBI will tell you, if you lie to us, it is a felony, okay? So these officers go in there and they testify and Now we're going to play, so the defense comes in and they play yesterday. They bring this chick in and she testifies, and she is hostile, okay? And I'm gonna play you some of her clips here, some of her stuff, and I find this fascinating. I didn't follow the first trial. Let's just make sure we're not missing anything in the chat. I wanna make sure everyone's getting here. We got Curtis over here on Rumble. Appreciate you guys. Nancy, hi Nancy, said, hi Curtis. You guys are having some. The injuries are like consistent with being in a fist fight. Well, they look like they're scratches all up and down his arm, right? Okay, so it's funny. I only watched a little bit of this trial. I watched the other one and I couldn't imagine why they went back to the well. This is what's I think is what you have here is corruption. And you're going to see it on display here. There's so many of these police officers that are just, you can tell they just lie, and it's fascinating to see. So we're going to have this chick. She comes to testify. This is yesterday, and I just wanted to make sure. Let me see, get here. Got to actually start here with the beginning. I'm not going to play all of it, and I am going to skip around a bit, okay? But I wanted to play some of the most exceptional parts. We're going to start here with this, and then we're going to get going. So enjoy this. We're not going to play all of this here. Let's go to 1.25. Welcome, everybody. Let's talk about this lady. Come sit down.
I do. Good morning. Morning. Morning, ma'am.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Good morning. Could you state your name and spell your last name for the jurors, please?
Kelly Dever, last name D-E-V-E-R.
Okay, Dever. Okay, now I don't know if that sounds right or this is it's spelled, I think it looked, maybe it's spelled Dever. I mean, D-E-V-E-R. Okay. She gets worked up over this. My last name, look at it on the screen, Tyler Yonke. Now, the J-A-N-K-E is the last name. In Jank, I'm in court yesterday. By the way, fantastic. It was a Monday. Today's Tuesday. Yeah, Monday. Had a all day, 10 o'clock to noon. It was a short cause hearing. It was all just us. Had a little mini trial mixed in there. We won. There were 3 big issues. We won all 3. Fantastic. By the way, opposing party did not have an attorney. Those are actually more difficult, I must say. You go in there and you want to do it's a little trial. You're going to have all these objections. The form, hearsay, objection, just whatever you're doing. I'm on edge, and she's self-represented. She's not even asking questions. She's just basically yelling at my client, and those are rough. I prefer having an attorney in there. But anyway, we won those. Tyler Honke, yeah. Oh, so that was my point. The judge is calling me by the right name. Opposing parties mixing it up. It's just it's all over the board, and I don't care because I'm an adult, and if you get worked up over your name and how people pronounce it, you're either going to slit your wrists or you're going to be seen as a complete cunt. Foreshadow. Okay.
And what do you do for a living? President?
I'm a police officer.
Where are you employed?
Boston Police.
How long have you been still employed with the Boston Police Department?
2 years and a little over 2 months.
Where'd you work before that?
I worked for the Canton Police.
Were you a sworn officer at that time?
At what time? When
you
I was
worked for the
employed there?
When you were employed by the Canton Police Department?
Yes, I was.
As a sworn police officer?
Yes.
Okay. What was your duty assignment in January of 2022?
I was a patrol officer.
You're familiar with the case that's presently before the bench, correct?
In some capacity, yes.
Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
Yes.
All right.
Now, this is a huge case. I mean, it's taken the internet by storm. All the crime podcasts are checking it out. In Boston, where she's at, it's definitely the biggest shit that's going on. And you're going to hear a little bit more about how prominent it was, what happened with this 1 or 2 year detective or police officer, beat squad officer. What happens to her? And I've heard about this case. Just keep this in mind.
Did you ever prepare any kind of report based on any of your conduct or your connection with this case, if there was any connection with this case, while you were a Canton police officer?
No.
Were you ever interviewed by any member of the Canton Police Department in furtherance of their investigation related to the death of John O'Keefe?
No.
Were you ever interviewed?
Okay, so let me just, I feel like I have to, and because you guys aren't watching this every day, I presume. So they get this lady, the Karen Reed's car. They find him in the snow, the John O'Keefe. Okay, they find him in the snow, and she's like, "Oh my God, did I hit him?" Now she was wasted or drunk the night before. She comes home, and they look around there. They process the scene with solo cups rather than like evidence bags. They put blood stuff in there. There's a little bit of frosting of snow on the ground. They don't find any taillights or whatnot. They go to her house, then they get her car. They end up taking this car to the Canton Police Department, where they do a full investigation on this thing, and that is when they discover that her taillight is busted. And then days later, they go back out to the scene, and then they miraculously find more taillight. Okay, so there is some problems because now some of the video footage, and they call it a sally port. It's like a garage in the police station. It's all weird. It's like flipped around 180 or inverse, like mirrored. Okay, so like if you were to have the driver's side is on the passenger side, and so it looks like the light was fine, but it wasn't fine. And so there's all some weirdness there. And then they found glass in the taillight that doesn't match the taillight. It doesn't match a glass that he had. And you're like, what? Anyway, so there's a lot of this weirdness, which is, it seems like the police. So that is kind of the pretext of this particular witness that we have here, a police officer. Okay, let's run
The
it.
Massachusetts State Police.
No.
Let me finish the question. I got to finish the question, then you can answer it. It works a little better that way. Were you ever interviewed by any member of the Massachusetts State Police in furtherance of their investigation into the death of John O'Keefe?
No.
Were you ever interviewed by either the Canton Police Department or the Massachusetts State Police with regard to any of your observations on January 28th or January 29th, 2022?
No.
And you never wrote a report about your observations or any observations that you had on January 28th or January 29th, 2022, correct?
No.
No,
that was
it's
a
not
double
correct.
negative. Let me try that a different way. Did you ever write a report about your observations related to January 28th, 2022, January 29th, 2022?
No.
Thank you. As a matter of fact, the first time you were ever interviewed in connection with anything having to do with this case or this investigation related to the death of John O'Keefe was by a separate law enforcement agency, not the Massachusetts State Police, not the Canton Police Department, correct?
Yes.
That was in August of 2020.
And that's what I was talking about. And they can't mention this in the trial, but FBI came in there and they did some investigation. They talked to people and they talked to her. Okay. So the FBI talked to her about her involvement in this case as a police officer, because they were doing kind of like an internal investigation, an IA type of thing, thinking that there may be some problems here. So they came in because there was an FBI, an ATF officer as well. There's some weird stuff going on. So the FBI comes in, investigates, and does an interview with her. That to me would be a pretty significant issue in my career. And let's keep going.
3, is that right?
Yes.
Do you remember the exact date?
No.
August 9th, 2023, does that sound right? About right?
I know it was the summer of 2023, so.
Okay. Do you think it would refresh your recollection to take a look at a report of that interview?
Yes, because I've never seen it before.
Just insofar as the date is concerned, may I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. Take a look at the bottom of that page. Just glance at that and tell me once you familiarize yourself with that page of that report. Okay. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you have that date in mind?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection that it was August 9th, 2023?
Yes.
Okay. I want to direct your attention, Officer Dever, to January 28th, 2022. Where were you working? What was your duty assignment on that day, January 28th, moving into January 29th?
Well, 3.5 years later, I remember I was on patrol. I don't remember anything further about this night.
Did you work overnight, like a late shift going into the morning of January 29th?
That was my assigned shift, so yes.
Okay. Who else was working with you on that particular day, if you recall?
Sergeant Good, Officer Mullaney, Officer Seraph, and Officer Pasquarelli.
Okay, I'm pausing it here only because I want you to. She did pull out 4 names. Okay, remember, and I'm doing this because when I do trials, it's always fascinating. And my coach. That's not true. I tried to talk to my clients or the witnesses about just telling the truth. If something is presented to you on, cross-examination as an example, I'm up there, I have them as a witness, they testify perfectly fine. Sometimes the judge wants to ask questions, a little different here in criminal stuff, but family, we do it all. It's just a bench trial, there's no jury. And so the judge will ask them questions. And I'm just saying, just answer the question honestly, okay? Because we've gone over everything and I should know all the mud and the dirt. So answer it honestly. And if it happens to kind of incriminate you, but like if here's the big issue, right? You got a bubble here, here's the big issue. And a little teeny part is over here, this little thing that may make you look not so good. Be truthful, because if you answer something that's obviously true, and you're not being truthful about it, you're losing credibility on the whole. Okay, so that's what I want you. And I've had multiple times. I just had a trial. I've been talking about this one in February, where the client did that. He was very honest about everything, and we won the very difficult trial. And the judge referenced how he was believable, and he referenced the part there. He admitted the part that was kind of detrimental to him. Okay, anyway. I always keep that in mind when I'm watching this, because if I'm a juror and you see something so obvious, she pulls out 4 names easily, and then let's keep going and let's think of her memory.
And what generally was your assignment when you went into work that night on January 28th?
Patrol.
At some point, either that evening in the early morning hours of January 29th, did you note that a call came in related to a person found in the snow, unresponsive in the snow?
Yes.
Tell me about that, the nature of the call, and where were you?
I was in my cruiser. A call came in that said person in a snowbank, something along those lines. Immediately followed by that transmission, my sergeant requested that I come to take over dispatch.
Is that Sergeant Good?
Yes.
Okay. Did you, in fact, respond back to Canton PD to take over dispatch?
Yes, so I was already in the parking lot of the Canton Police while this took place, so I was already at the station.
Did you note whether or not Sergeant Good and or any of the others responded to the location while you stayed back to handle dispatch at the police department?
Yes, that's why I went inside, so he could respond.
Were you aware that Sergeant Good, did you have any knowledge at that time that Sergeant Good was familiar with or knew who Brian Albert was?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you know who Brian Albert was at that time?
No.
Do you now? At least
Because of
familiar
this
with the
case,
name?
yes.
I spoke over you, I'm so sorry.
So the Alberts, I think, are the family where this guy was found. They're police officers. And so that's, kind of the shady stuff here. You get this guy's found dead out in front of their house, and they're never investigated. The police, when they come in there, they don't even go in the house. They don't ask them, hey, maybe this was something that, nope. There's just nothing to see here.
Based on this case, you familiar with the name?
The name, yes.
Okay. Did you know Kevin Albert?
No. Oh, the detective Kevin Albert. Yes, I did.
Correct. How did you know Kevin Albert?
He was a detective for the Canton Police.
Were you aware of his relationship to Brian Albert at that time?
No.
Are you now aware of his relationship with Brian Albert?
Yes, from the media.
And what is that relationship as you know it?
Sustained.
Did you know Brian Higgins at that time?
Just a little, and I'm sorry if I'm breaking in here and you guys just watch the trial as it's live during the day, okay? Don't worry about me, because we're going to break stuff in here. This is his witness, so you can't do leading questions, okay? So you can't give a question that supposes the answer within the question, and he had one of those. So, you're going to object to those kind of things. When you do cross-examination, you can lead all you want. Or if it's a hostile witness and they say, you deem them as hostile, and the judge usually says, yeah, it's fine, then you can do leading questions, which they don't do, but sometimes the judge is just kind of like, okay, we're here already, let's just have this.
Yes, in passing.
I'm not asking if you were social friends, asking if you knew who he was.
Yes.
How'd you know who Brian Higgins was?
He had an office in the Canton Police.
Was he a sworn police officer?
Not for us.
Was he a sworn federal agent?
Yes.
Worked for ATF?
Yes.
Okay. How long had you known and been familiar with Brian Higgins? Say, for instance, by sight, to be able to recognize who he was.
Sometime during 2020 is when I was probably first familiarized with him, because that's when I was employed with the Canton Police Department first.
Okay. Pass him in the hallways, hi, bye, things like that.
Yes.
Sustained is to form, Mr. Jackson.
Understood. Did you know him by sight?
Yes.
Could you recognize him if you saw him?
2.5 years later, no, but at the time, yes.
I'm not asking you about right now. I'm asking you back in January 2022. Could you recognize him by sight?
Yes.
Did you know who Kenneth Berkowitz was?
Yes.
Who's Kenneth Berkowitz?
He was the chief of the Canton Police.
Obviously very familiar with him. He was your boss, correct?
Yes.
When Sergeant Good instructed you to take over dispatch, explain what that meant.
It meant I walked inside and I sat down in a dispatch room.
Describe the dispatch room. What did that array look like?
There was chairs and computers.
Monitors?
Yes.
Okay, so break this up too, which is it seems like she's being difficult. I get it, but I also tell my clients, and you know, David, was it David in here said good advice? Yes, that was good advice. Now it's other advice I said, and it depends. It's all different, but sometimes I'm like, you're a piano. Okay, so if they push one key, you only want to hear one note. You don't want to hear a whole song. So in other words, if it's a yes or no question, it's a yes or no answer. Don't give them a whole thing. Sometimes that's fine, and sometimes I'm objecting if it's, you know, if narrative is what you would say. You know, it didn't ask for that, and the party's just continuing on if it's, you know, the opposing party or whatnot. But sometimes you let that happen, because if they say something and they can, you know, go off topic a little bit, and maybe it's an area you want to actually discuss, but you need to be within the scope, and you can't just be asking questions. But suddenly they say something, you can start asking questions because they brought it up. So sometimes I let the parties just kind of go, okay? And so is she being difficult? Yes, she's being difficult. He's asking her, but he's got a leader. There's another thing too, which I'm more adept with, which I'm not, you know, used to, which is we do, like I said, bench trials, which is just a judge. There's a lot of explaining you don't have to do to a judge, especially a judge that's in family court and you're doing family law. It's just the judge understands. So sometimes, you know, I had my former law partner, he was doing criminal stuff, and then he started doing family law stuff with me, and we're doing a trial together, and I'm kind of, you know, trying to help him through this, and he's walking step by step by step, and the judge is like, I get it. Can you just get to the, it's like, okay, he was used to doing stuff for the jury, which you got to walk him through, build a foundation, and sometimes the judge is like, I get it. We're moving on. Anyway, let's keep going here, Miss Dever.
Does the dispatch area also have monitors of internal security camera footage?
I know there was camera screens, but I don't know if they were on TVs or computers or where in dispatch they were. I don't recollect where they were or how they would be accessed. They were in the room somewhere. I can't be more specific. I don't remember.
But you do recall seeing that there were monitors that were showing different views of internal security camera footage of Canton PD, correct?
The specifics, no. Were there? Yes.
I don't know what you mean by specifics. I'm asking you, were there monitors that you could look at that showed
Now
security
she's just being
footage
difficult.
from inside Canton PD, different areas,
and
hallways, corridors,
maybe not truthful.
offices, the Sally port, for instance?
So 2.5 years since I've...
You keep saying 2.5 years later.
So let her finish her answer and then ask a question.
Sure.
It's been years since I've been in that room. They were somewhere in the room. Where cameras were in the Canton Police Department, I don't recall. The media's provided me information since this case took place, and I can't speak on what's my recollection and what's been media provided. There are cameras. I don't know where on my memory where they are.
So has the media informed you that there were internal security monitors at the dispatch location?
So the objection is sustained. Next question.
What do you recall from the dispatch room, as you put it? What do you recall being there in terms of monitors?
I remember there was a computer screen that had information about current calls, and then there was a 911 screen next to that. Those are the two computers that I would have been positioned in front of during this time.
As a dispatch officer, by the way, you were a sworn officer at
Yes.
that time, correct? Uniform, badge, gun, the whole works, right?
Yes.
Had you ever been in Sallyport at Canton PD?
Yes.
What's the Sallyport?
A Sallyport is a garage, essentially.
Okay. You're aware that the Sallyport garage had a camera, a security camera?
It would make sense because that's where we bring prisoners to drop them off.
Well, more than just makes sense. I'm asking you, do you recall that it had cameras that serviced the Sallyport garage? Security cameras.
It's where we brought prisoners, so there would be cameras, yes.
Okay, you're saying there would be cameras. I'm asking you, were there cameras?
According to the media, yes. I've seen the footage, so yes, there were cameras.
All right, so hold on. So I'm going to...
It just seems, it's like, okay, there's video out there of this thing. This is a big part of this case. And it's just obvious that it's the case and she's just being difficult. But let's keep going.
You have to answer the question based on your own independent knowledge, okay? And if you don't have
big
any time,
sigh.
but you can't reference what you know from the media.
All right. There were cameras in the Sallyport.
Thank you.
There you go. It's a little odd, that response. Big sigh and then, okay, yes, there were.
I have no relation to this case, so...
I asked you that. I asked you if you want to be here today.
Objection. This isn't direct.
So it's your witness.
I understand.
She can... No comments, just questions. Not, I understand that.
Do you want to be here today now?
Do you want to be here today?
I'm put on the stand in a murder trial. I don't know why I'm here. I have no connection to this case.
You have no idea why you're here?
Okay, so this is the kind of commentary that gets you in trouble later on and not making you believable. So right there, she has, I don't know why I'm here. Now after you find out why she's there, it's inconceivable, as it'd say in Princess Bride, it's inconceivable to think that you didn't know why you were there. It blows my, and so it's her feigning this indignation is it's a show, and it's really odd. Okay, I don't know what. By the way, would you want to be pulled over by this person? This is your police officer, and this is the attitude. And someone's like, nice attitude. Maybe you're making a joke. I'm just saying. I run into when I seem to have police officers as opposing parties. There's two kinds that are the worst. There's police officers and firefighters. It's I don't know if it's what they do. They run into people all the time that give them problems or whatever, and they are just problematic. Not every, I have one as a client that's a police officer, he and his wife, and they're adorable. He's remarried. So did I say adorable? Yes, I did. I love that attitude. Maybe she's retarded. Yes, maybe she is. Okay, let's keep going.
You've never talked to me. Nobody on the fence seems to talk to me since prior to the first trial. So I don't have any idea why I'm here.
No clue whatsoever, as you sit here, why you might be called to stand.
No.
Are you uncomfortable testifying?
No, it's part of my job.
You're a professional police officer, correct?
Correct.
That means you're a professional witness to a certain degree, correct?
In the crimes that I've gone on the stand before, yes, I have been.
And you understand the oath?
Yes, I do.
What is that oath?
The oath is to tell the truth.
The whole truth, and nothing but the truth, correct?
Objection.
Leading.
I'll rephrase it. Is there more to that oath?
Argumentative.
Can you raise your right hand as a witness?
I'm objecting.
So I'm going to see you at sidebar for just...
Sure.
Okay, so they go to this little sidebar because you can't really discuss all this stuff in front of the parties. So we'll skip forward here. This is a decent long break. This is the fan that they show. But we're going to come up to the part that...
Yes. Thank you.
That's Karen Reed.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I inquire?
Yes.
Thank you. One of the cameras, one of the monitors that you had access to back on January 29th did show the footage from, or did it show the footage from that, one of the other Sallyport garage cameras?
Can you rephrase the question?
Sure, it was a little bit clunky on my part. Did one of the monitors that you looked at, that you had access to at the dispatch area, did it show the video footage or the video feed from the Sallyport garage?
So I already said I don't remember where in dispatch the screen with the cameras was. There was a camera in the Sallyport. So if I'm going to make the assumption, then yes, of course. But now that's an assumption.
I'm not asking you for an assumption now. I'm asking you, did one of the feeds, now we've talked about the camera, the other side of the camera is the feed. Do you recall whether or not there was footage that you could see
Let's make sure quality is good, folks.
I'm going to go with yes.
Okay.
My clarification.
How long?
So, I don't know what that means. So what do you mean you're going to go with yes? Is your answer yes?
And people, this is your police officers, okay? Now, in Massachusetts, just not to slight someone out there, and I'm not here bashing police, but this is your typical, I think, what you've seen, and we're gonna play another police officer. It's maybe a little different, but this is this baffles me. I truly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow.
What time about did you take over the dispatch desk that morning?
Immediately following when the 911 call came in.
Would have been 6-ish in the morning. Does that sound about right?
Sometime, I would say towards the later of my shift, but it was the middle of winter and dark out, so I don't know if it was 4, 5, 6.
Understood. But it was still dark out.
Yes.
Okay. And this is, if you're keeping score on this, this is a point to remember. Now, is the jury keeping all this kind of stuff in their head? I don't know. But she doesn't know when she came on, when it was the middle of the shift. She's not really sure about some times here. But later on, she's going to be very sure about
Once you
times.
took over the dispatch desk, did you stay there even past your normal shift ending to support the investigation that was on?
This is important.
Not to support the investigation, I was just on overtime.
Okay. So you stayed past your normal end time of your shift that day?
Yes, on overtime.
You stayed into the afternoon, correct?
I believe the shift ended at 3:45 p.m. for the Canton Police.
But you stayed past your ending shift time, correct? I'm sorry, I'll rephrase it. Did you stay past your ending shift time?
For my regular shift, yes, because I was on overtime on the day shift.
Did you observe?
So 3:45 is when the shift ended, but she just said she stayed on overtime. Okay? That's a key aspect.
Unusual that stood out in your mind that occurred, pardon me, in the Sally Port while you were on that shift?
So we've discussed this previously. I can't make that statement on the stand because I've been provided information released by the defense that it was not a memory, that it was a distorted memory. Therefore, I can't state it because at this point it would be a lie. I cannot make that statement that you're wanting me to make on the stand because I've advised that that would be a lie.
Ms. Dever,
what?
I've never asked you to make a statement one way or the other on the stand. I'm asking you an open-ended question.
Okay,
Did
so
you,
prior to
let
the
me ask
first-
the question. Did you observe something in the Sallyport garage on January 29th, 2022 that you found unusual, stuck out in your mind?
Given factual information that makes it so I know I did not, no.
So the answer is no.
Correct.
Do you remember being interviewed on August 9th, 2023?
I do.
That was by a separate law enforcement agency, correct?
Yes.
2 separate law enforcement agents, is that right?
Yes.
And you were advised during the...
That's the FBI, which they can't mention that it's the FBI in this case. For some reason, the judge is like, nope, you can't do that. So she can't mention, or they can't, the attorneys.
course of that interview on August 29th of something, correct?
Can you rephrase
I'm sorry,
that?
August 9th.
So what was I advised of? Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Were you advised that lying to those officers would be a crime?
So it was a willing conversation. I've spoken with their legal team. Because of the fact I was providing factual information that showed a statement of mine was a false memory, it was not a lie. Therefore, I made it in good faith.
I provided them a statement that was a false memory, psychosomatic. Is that what we've got going on here? That is, we'll look into this because it doesn't, it's impossible. It's literally impossible to do, but we'll keep going.
And I retracted given information that it could not be accurate.
Ms. Dever, did you understand my question?
Yes, I did. You threatened to charge me with perjury during our phone call prior to the first trial if I didn't lie on the stand right now. I'm telling you, I did not see anything. Factually, I've been provided evidence by a timeline that it is not correct.
Ms. Dever, my question was this. Were you advised that it was a crime to lie to those law enforcement agents? Yes or no?
No.
They never told you, they never admonished you that it would be a crime to lie to them?
Objection.
Sustained. As to form, Mr. Jackson.
Sure. Did they advise you of anything? Any consequences of lying to them?
So we had a willing conversation.
Yes or no?
I don't recall.
So, okay, there's your answer.
You don't recall if they advised you of anything?
No, because it wasn't.
As a trained law enforcement agent.
Go ahead and ask a question.
And this is what I've talked about, which is lying to the FBI is a felony. So they are likely going to tell you that. And keep that in mind because she knows that. So I don't know why she's waffling here, because she said something about a legal team, a false memory, okay? And what did she do about this false memory? And was she concerned? I'm trying not to get ahead of the game here, but she's claiming there was a false memory. She's also claiming she was never advised of something. Yet later on, we're going to find out that she does something where you would be concerned about the advisement and not doing the right thing. So let's go here.
Both of you, only one at a time. Okay?
Both of you.
As a trained law enforcement officer, are you aware that it's a crime to lie to certain other law enforcement agents?
When you have intent to lie, yes.
Okay. So you knew that when you spoke to these law enforcement officers, correct?
Yes.
Did you tell these law enforcement officers that you, in fact, saw Brian Higgins and Chief Berkowitz going to the Sally Port with the SUV? May I finish my question?
You can finish this question. Go ahead.
Did you tell those law enforcement agents on August 9th, 2023, that you saw Brian Higgins and Chief Berkowitz go into the Sally Port together and alone with the SUV for a wildly long time?
That was my recollection at the time.
So you did say that?
At the time, that is what I recollected.
Okay.
So she told the FBI that these two guys, because she had access to the cameras, she saw them go into the Sally Port for a weirdly, I think they said, a weirdly long time. Okay, something odd there. So she tells the FBI at the time. Come on.
Did you indicate that you noted Let me have just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
You remember that?
Yes.
Let's go back.
Last year sometime. You remember that?
Yes.
Between the time that you were interviewed on August 9th, 2023, and when we spoke sometime in maybe it was April or so of last year, does that sound about right?
Yes.
Did you have any conversation with any other party about your potential involvement in this case?
No.
Did you have a conversation with anybody in the commissioner's office at Boston Police Department?
Not about anything malicious.
I didn't use the word malicious. Why do you say malicious?
I had a conversation, but it was my department saying, regardless of what I need to say on the stand, they support me.
You were asked to go to the commissioner's office, correct?
Yes.
How long had you been on the Boston Police Department at the time that you were invited to go up to Commissioner Michael Cox's office?
It had to have been before the first trial, so, and I know it was when the agency released information to outside people.
That's not my question.
Okay, so I don't recall.
Okay. You don't recall how long you had been?
So she gets called up to the commissioner's office. Now, remember, there's a few things here which doesn't make. She talked to the FBI. She gets called up to the commissioner's office. She has no, and she's testified. She has no clue why she's being called. Why are you being called up to the commissioner's office about this? Why is the FBI talking to you about this? And you don't know. So those little things there don't make sense, right? Okay.
And on the force, generally, at the time that you were called up to the commissioner's office, on the Boston Police Department?
No.
Was it 5 years, 2 years, 2 months? Give me a ballpark.
So I've been on the department for 2 years and 2 months. I would say somewhere in the range of a year.
Okay. Did you find it unusual for would you call yourself a rookie back then?
Yes.
Did you find it unusual that a rookie police officer would be called up to the commissioner's office personally to discuss that?
It was a reflection of how good of a leader he is. It was not anything that I found unusual, given the fact he is someone who wanted to show support for his officer.
So I'm guessing all of your training class or all of your entry classes in Boston PD, they've all gone up to the commissioner's office as well?
I don't know anyone else who's been in this particular circumstance.
Do you know anybody else who's been called up to the commissioner's office at your level at the Boston Police Department?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you know of any of your colleagues with your level of experience that have been called up to the commissioner's office for a specific incident?
Objection.
That's sustained.
Now, when you went up to the commissioner's office, did you respond to his indication that he wanted to see you open his office?
It wasn't a direct line of contact from him.
Okay. Did you respond? Did you ultimately go? That's what I mean by respond. Did you go to his office?
He's my boss, so yes.
Okay. And who else was in that office?
Me and him. The two of us.
General counsel for the Boston Police Department?
No, it's just me and him.
Did you, the conversation that we had last year, did you say that General Legal Counsel for the Boston Police Department was also there?
Objection.
Not during that conversation.
Objection.
Next question.
Sure. Was there another time that you went to the commissioner's office where General Legal Counsel was there?
No.
Have you ever met General Legal Counsel for the Boston Police Department?
Yes.
Was it in the commissioner's office?
No.
When was it?
During my conversation with the agents.
You took a lawyer with you to talk to this other law
All right, then they're gonna object because you don't get to basically rip on someone for taking an attorney. Long break. I'm almost done with this part. Then I'm gonna play a little bit across, but I think there's some important parts here.
General Legal Counsel in that office or not when you had a meeting with the commissioner, Michael Cox?
No, it was just me and the commissioner.
At some point, did the commissioner say to you that Boston Police Department, insofar as your connection to this case is concerned, Boston Police Department fully supports you?
Yes.
Did he also say, do the right thing?
That's a direct quote, so I can't recollect if he said a direct quote 2 years ago.
A year ago, when you talked to us, the defense, did you tell the defense that when you were called up to the commissioner's office, he told you two things? Commissioner Cox told you, number one, Boston Police Department supports you, and Officer Deaver, do the right thing.
So he said my name correctly. He said Dever, and
there you go.
Let's see. Like, you want me to repeat the question so I get that right?
There you go. There's the cut coming out. He pronounced my name right.
Mr. Jackson, let's go ahead and answer, please.
Yes, and he said nothing with the intent of guiding me one way or the other.
What his intent was, madam. I asked you what he said to you. What were his words to you?
Why are you
that
so?
He supports me.
And?
Just wanted me to tell the truth up here.
And his words were, do the right thing, correct?
I don't recall.
How many other times have you testified in a court of law during the course of your job?
Two dozen, 3 dozen.
And
actually testified probably ballpark a dozen times.
Okay, I'm gonna skip forward just a bit here. Let's go here. Okay.
So actually a year and 8 months later was the first time I ever spoke about this case.
When they spoke to you a year and 8 months later, did you suggest?
So this is now cross-examination. So it's the Commonwealth, the state coming in here, and they're going to rehabilitate her. Now, this isn't their witness. They didn't call her, but she's definitely on their side. So the defense called her because she had previously testified that these two guys were in this place. I almost think this is better that she's now lying because the lie is so bad that you can't believe it. And so here's her, and now Hank Brennan is the guy's name. He's rehabilitating her. And that's what I tell clients too, which is, look, my attorney goes up there, or my client goes up there, or my witness, and they say something, you tell the truth. The opposing side is going to come in and try to make you look bad. Just answer it correctly. I will rehabilitate it. I'll work through. If there's an issue, we'll get to it. And that's what he's doing here. And he actually does a decent enough.
Tell them that you might have seen Chief Berkowitz and Mr. Higgins near the Sallyport area?
I told them on the day of that I saw that. I didn't make any indications it was anything bad. I just said I saw them. And it was in good faith that I believed I saw that. That was the extent of that comment.
So you had told them you believed you saw Mr. Berkowitz and Mr. Higgins in the Sallyport area that day?
On January 29th during my day shift, yes.
Did you then learn any information that helped you remember when your shift ended that day?
So I know my shift ended at 3:45 p.m. So I know that I left then. That wasn't ever one of my questions. The defense released a timeline right prior to the first trial that the vehicle on that day did not arrive in the Sallyport until about an hour and a half after I left, meaning it is not possible that I saw that.
When you saw this information.
Now that's what's crazy. She left. Okay, so these guys were never in this Sallyport. They were never there with a car while she was there. Now remember, she said Her shift ended at 3:45, but she did work overtime. She stayed later than her shift. What's fascinating is you are literally depicting and making a statement to the FBI about something that you are saying I was never there. So how did you come up with this scenario? Is it that you're watching the news and you're just taking it in, and then somehow you think now you saw that? I don't believe that's the case, because is there even video? Do we have a video of that happening? I don't think that they actually have video that they've been able to get for that. And I could be wrong. I don't know every detail of this. So it's fascinating that she came up with a false memory of something that never happened, yet she would have had to have been there to even know that it could have happened. How would she know that? So this is just fascinating, and it's not like you made a mistake, right? Like, oh, I said it was, something happened at 5, but then it was actually couldn't have, because here's the time and da da da. This is, you made a scenario of something that you weren't there to actually witness, and it did happen, or at least that scenario is happening there, and it's the thing that's in question that we're having later on. People saying these people aren't there. And that is what you have a false memory of. That is fascinating to me.
Think about your memory.
So when I saw that information, it made it clear to me that there was a distortion of the timeline, and the false memory I created, I provided in good faith, but I retracted immediately, being provided evidence that it was not possible.
Who did you retract it to? Who did you tell?
So I told
And so this is her out. And so here's my belief. And then she talks about how she sent something to the FBI. She actually says FBI. Maybe we'll get to that one here when you go back on redirect. Okay, so here we go.
in the end, it's going to go through the court system. So the district attorney, the ADAs, that's who pursues it in a court setting.
Have you ever seen a defense attorney charge anybody with a crime?
So you can seek out reporting someone for it.
Have you ever seen a defense attorney charge someone with a crime, ma'am?
Personally, no.
Right. The fact of the matter is, nobody ever threatened you with perjury, did they?
Oh, they did. Yes.
That's
I contacted the FBI regarding it.
Oh, did you?
I did.
You have a report?
I have.
So she mentions the FBI. So now the jury knows that the FBI had investigated this. This is what's so fascinating. So here she's saying she contacted the FBI and she walks through the thing that you're supposed to do, which is, look, I misstated something. I told you what it was, and here it is. And the FBI is like, that's fine. Now, why would she do that? Remember early on, he tried to ask her, were you warned? Were you warned about anything? Like, lying to this agency is a federal offense or anything like that. You know, lying is not allowed. I don't remember anything like that. Yet, when you come up with this new memory, you then contact them to make sure that they understand that you were not lying. So these things don't match to this person. It can't happen. By the way, I do believe that the commissioner brought her in there and said, do the right thing. And then he's like, wink, you know, however that works. So there you go. I don't know if anybody's still with us, but I hope they are. That's one thing. So then I thought I would play this real quick here. This is a guy that testified today. His name is Barros. Now, he was a guy that shows up. He's with Dighton Police, and so he goes there and he helps get the car and this taillight, and he made a report. And that's him testifying in the first trial. He was brought by the prosecution. They did not bring him this time because at the time he kind of said some things that, like, well, there was a crack in the taillight, but it wasn't to the smashed out like they show later. What's fascinating to me is he gets kind of worked over today. I'm going to play the very end of this here.
At any point did you go sort of, and in particular in this area of the right where passenger side on that tail light, was there any snow or ice or anything around that area that you observed?
On the vehicle itself?
Yes.
Yes, on the vehicle there was snow on the vehicle.
And not to put words in your mouth, but sort of caked on there, is that correct?
I guess you could say caked on, correct.
So you'd reached out to the highway superintendent to have someone come out and plow the driveway, correct?
Correct.
And do you know about how long it was between the time that you made that call and the time that the plow driver came out to clear it?
Less than 10 minutes.
And the sort of clearing of the driveway and the process of that, do you know about how long that took?
I'd say another 10 minutes or so.
And as far as the time that the troopers went into the house, at some point the troopers obviously came out of the house, correct?
Correct.
Do you know about how long it was that they were inside of the house?
More than 30 minutes, less than an hour.
Now, at any point in time that while you were there, did you yourself or did you see anyone else touching or making any contact or manipulating or anything in that rear passenger side area of either the taillight or the vent that you
I did not.
I'm sorry.
I did not.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, cross-examination? All right, Sergeant Barrows, you are all set, sir. Thank you.
Now, I didn't really play his testimony, but what he doesn't really go, the prosecution, and then this plays into it here. The prosecution is the only one that asked him questions, and he wasn't really that helpful. Matter of fact, he was saying the taillight wasn't all that busted up. The defense is like, sounds good to us. We're not going to really go into it very much. Now, they probably should have. They probably should have asked him a few more probing questions, but they weren't sure what they were going to get. So there you go. So they just let it go. Now, he comes in. They bring him in today. Now, I'm going to play this from Kurt's channel. I know one person in our chat may not like that, but I'm going to play this from him because he was playing this here. This guy's testifying, and he has this moment. Actually, let me see if I can find the moment here. Okay, I want to get, hang on with me, people. Hang on. I didn't pull these clips ever. Okay, so here we go. Here's part of his original testimony here on the first part.
A piece was about maybe this big.
Is that maybe the size of a dollar bill, maybe 6 inches? Like how big it was, how small, the shape, as you call it?
The piece was about maybe this big.
Is that maybe the size of a dollar bill, maybe 6 inches?
6 inches.
And how wide?
Maybe that wide, maybe 3 inches, 2 inches, somewhere in there.
I want to show you a photo. Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would like to show Exhibit 13. It's been previously marked. Do you see what's depicted in this photograph?
I do.
What does that appear to be, just generally?
The right rear tail light.
Of what?
The Lexus SUV.
Is that consistent with the black Lexus SUV that you saw at the Reed residence?
That was the black Lexus. That was not the tail light the day I was there.
Can you do me a favor, Mr. Wolk? With the court's permission, could we zoom in on the right rear tail light, please?
Okay.
Do you see the condition of that tail light as it's depicted in this photo?
I do.
Sergeant Barrows, is this the condition of the right rear tail light when you showed up at the Reed household at around 3:15 in the afternoon on January 29th, 2022?
Absolutely not.
What's different about this photo, sir?
That's the money shot. So what he's basically saying is here on the far right, that part was gone, but this whole part back here was not. So the significance of this is there was a time where she was, Karen Reed shows camera where she was in a Ring camera. She did back into another car. So this is after the accident where, supposedly hit the guy. So then there's taillight found at the scene. There's taillight that's busted like this, that's found in the Sally port that was somehow hanging on there. So the defense is saying, oh, the police officers smashed it out after the fact, and then they planted it. Okay. And this guy is basically a police officer that was there like, yeah, this was not how it was when the tow truck took it. I walked around, I took notes, I made a report of it, and there you go. So that's the money shot right
That
there.
tail light is completely smashed out.
Does it appear that there are additional pieces of taillight that are removed from this taillight condition than when you saw it at the Reed residence? Okay.
Sustained. Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Of course. Describe specifically, other than the fact that it's different, describe in detail for the jurors what is different about this taillight as it's photographed here.
That middle section was intact when I was there. Towards that right side where that large chunk is, that's what was missing.
I'm going to hand you a green laser pointer. If you can, there's 2 displays, one monitor directly in front of you and one to your right. If you could use the one to your right, it's a little easier on the jurors. Describe what's different about that taillight.
Can you see that? So this area was intact. This is what I saw was missing here.
May I approach?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what happens in here is actually one of the better cross-examinations of the day, which is, and this guy didn't review his own previous transcript, which he could have done. They come back but this is why I like this guy, because we just saw the other chick in here who couldn't answer a question to save her life. everything's antagonistic. My name, this and this and this, rather than just being calm and just answering it. And you know what? If there's a problem, on redirect, they'll get you back and just tell the truth. This guy actually gives a little bit of breakdown. Now, Kurt is going to walk through here because there's a time that's a little bit, okay, we're on 1:25. A question about his memory, and it's a little bit nefarious the way that the defense attorney brings it up about did he actually testify and say that. So here we go.
You said your memory is as good as your memory that you said in court there was a difference between that photo and the damage, right?
Right.
Have you ever read your testimony from your last proceeding?
Never.
But you have a specific memory of discussing that specific photograph.
I want to go back to the beginning here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You said your memory is as good as your memory that you said in court there was a difference between that photo and the damage, right?
Right.
Have you ever read your testimony from your last proceeding?
Never.
But you have a specific memory of discussing that specific photograph. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing right now. It seems suspiciously like we're impeaching him, but we can't because he hasn't said anything inconsistent with what he said before. He said, "Isn't this what you said?" And he said, "Yes." So
what Kurt's talking about there is if someone, he's like, look, exactly what he said. Is this what you said? Yes, that's fine. What you can do is then pull a transcript if someone says no and impeach them, their testimony, show that it's different from before. And you don't get to bring because it's hearsay, that report, but you get to show them and say, isn't this what you said before? We do this all the time. We do a deposition, then we go into trial, we have them testify and they're about something and you're like then comparing about what you said before. Or they've drafted responses or a petition, for a motion or something, and it's in there, it's their declaration, and you're comparing it to what they just testified to. We do that all the time, right? And to impeach their testimony, to make them not believable. Now he's doing that, and Kurt's like bug-eyed here because why are you doing this? Because you just said that's what you said. That what Brennan, the defense attorney, is saying there.
you can't impeach him because he's conceded the point. So what the hell are we doing now?
It's the same thing. He's just elaborating further. Nobody asked him last time.
Yeah, it's like, we'll refresh your memory. Well, not really, because I already told you the exact answer. So
yeah.
What are we doing right now? It looks like we're doing it. You can't impeach him. He already gave you the answer. What are you doing, man?
Right, and the defense attorney is not breaking this down or objecting.
I wonder if he assumed that didn't happen.
So wait, because he's conceded the point. Like, weren't you asked last one?
Okay, we're going.
What are we? I don't think it's what he said.
Okay.
Between that photo and what you saw the last time you testified. Objection.
I don't think it's what he said.
And I should take a look at that.
Wait, I want to go back.
What are we doing right now? I don't understand.
Sorry.
Between that photo and what you saw the last time you testified. Objection.
I don't think it's what he said.
And I should take a look at that. Could you show me anywhere in your testimony, anywhere, where you made any statement about that photo being inconsistent with what you saw in Dayton on January 29th, 2022?
I also don't think that's what he said. I mean, I could go back, but I actually don't think that's what he said. Did he say that he testified about the photo? Maybe I missed it, but do I have to go back and re-listen? Because I don't think that's what he said.
Go back, Kurt. Come on. Don't make me clip it.
Last trial, but I don't know that he said
election, because there's nothing. Okay, I guess we have to go back and listen to what he actually said.
Here we go.
You said that your memory about the damage to the taillight, as you recall it when you were in Dayton back on January 29, 2022, you said your memory is as good as your memory that you said in court there was a difference between that photo and the damage, right?
Right.
Photo. You said your memory is as good as your memory that you said in court there was a difference between that photo and the damage, right?
Right.
Oh, that's ambiguous. Yeah, you said in court there's a difference between, yeah, but that's an ambiguous question because like it depends how you parse that sentence. Like you said in court that there's a difference between that photo, but did I say in court about the photo, or am I saying there is a difference? So how do I parse that? Yeah, that is sleazy, bad Brennan. Bad Brennan. That is a sleazy, ambiguous question, and I'm pissed.
Okay, so Kurt gets pissed. I think that's where we're going to halt on that. The point here is testifying, which this guy then goes later on. Like I said, he just admits to some things that are happening, and he's like, "Yeah, maybe my memory is not so good." But they end with him going, "That is not recollection. That's not that photo. That's not what I saw. So, two different police officers there. One completely unbelievable, in my opinion, because you're not gonna create a scenario, a detailed scenario. Two guys, this guy and this guy, went into this place that I was able to see on screen, and they were in there for a weirdly long time, and then go up later and go like, man, I just must have made that up in my own mind, because it's not possible, because I had already checked out. Now, here's where she's getting it, which is technically, she was probably told, don't do this. What the hell? You got to find a solution. And she's like, oh, wait. They didn't bring the car until 5:40. Since the car's there at 5:40 and I was done, my shift was over at 3:45. Therefore, I couldn't have done it. Now, did you go home? Did you stick around? What's going on here? You literally made up a scenario that was very likely to happen. Why would you make that up if you're at home eating bonbons? This is not donuts. I don't know what they do, but that's probably. We show the judge they're a liar. Yes, we do. That's a liar. I want to do something here because I've said this before. I'm like, oh look, I had a viral tweet. Have you? I have had a viral tweet at this point, okay, people? And I'm going to actually do it here. So let's take a look here. This is, hang on. This is our boy, hey, there we go. I guess we'll have to show this one. Greg 166, I mean, he has, now this is 93 million tweets. He's like, did we ever figure out what she saw? And I said, yes. And then here's the tweet. Let's play this here. This is my video. I cut this video. I made this edit. I put it out before. It maybe got like 30,000 views. I thought it was a big deal. I'm up to 2 million folks on this one. But here's our Grimes, whatever her name is. Remember when she saw the guy on the plane? When this video came out, I saw this and I said, I put it into my editor and I'm like, okay, she's gonna look back and she's gonna point to someone. I'm like, who could you have? Maybe a Santa Claus, right? That's what my thinking was. And I even had sent Andy a text message saying, hey, who would this be? And he didn't answer. And then I'm in my Tower Gang group chat and Cole's like, oh, you should have, maybe it wasn't Tower Gang at the time. It was a different one. Yeah, it was a different one. And he's like, oh, you should, someone should put the Burger King guy in there. And I'm like, I saw that, and then Dickie saw it as well. Now, I had it all ready to go. I just found the one, boom, 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 and I put it in there, and then Dickie did one. Mine blew his up, but now this one's blowing up anymore. So, okay, this is who she actually saw, folks. Okay, you ready for this? Let's go.
I'm telling you, I'm getting the off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two but I am telling you right now, that mother back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can die with them or not. I'm not going to.
Kick that bitch off the plane!
I'm telling you.
Okay, so I need the applause. I do need the applause. I think we did well on that one. It's only 2 million people. See if you can get it up there anymore. If you see it, go ahead and retweet it. Get it out there. Okay, so that's our Karen Reed. I'm doing this on Tuesday. I'll try to do a Friday show, but I think I told you guys this is why I'm doing it on too. My wife's gone. She's helping their friend. Sad situation. Her son, 20-year-old, got killed. Car accident. We thought it was a drunk driver. Looks like they did a breathalyzer test. He's clean. I don't know what the situation is. We'll figure it out. However, the funeral is Friday, so I don't know if I'll be in a state to even have anything going. But here we are today. Maybe I'll do another show if you guys like this. Maybe even no one's even here. That's the thing. So Karen Reed, I think she's innocent of murder, at least. Did she maybe back into him? Possibly. Today on the stand, it was fascinating. The other day, they had engineers, okay? I am an attorney, but I also have a mechanical engineering degree, okay? So to me, it was fascinating to see these mechanical engineers testifying, going at it with attorneys, and they're all just pieces of shit, and it's fascinating, and it's fun, and I'm enjoying this trial a lot. So I wish I would be able to do breakdowns every day for you guys. Maybe you don't even want that. But if you're new here, subscribe, like, and everything. We do stuff. We talk about Nick Rekieta. We talk about, not a fan of his, Robert Barnes and those kind of people, the pieces of shit lawyers. We talk about them. We do have some people we like. potentially criminal, as I mentioned, as one of them. Anyway, big fan of Sean. Anyway, that's all we have for tonight. I think that's what we're gonna end on it. You guys have a good evening. Appreciate everybody that came into the chat tonight. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. By the way, I did a Substack live last week. 0 people showed up. I got bored. I deleted it. See ya.
Things are going to...
Okay, I'm leaving now, by the way.
But she's back.
And now.
Tyler, if you had any clout about you, if you had any like knowledge of the real world of what happens, we walk into Tim Katz's studio, immediately there's 4 Jewish lawyers.
King of the Druids!
That's all we needed. A Jewish princess.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't expect the normies like Tyler to understand these kind of things. He's just a podunk lawyer somewhere in like rural California. He's an idiot, really.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
This guy's, I wouldn't say he's full of shit, but I'd say he's stupid. Whatever, if you're in the comments, if you're in the chat now, I wouldn't pay attention to anything he says anyway. But
more or less, eat shit and die.
Don't ever come to the top left. He will end you. Do you see what he just did to Tyler? Just fucking challenge this.
Tyler's done.
Top is a maniac.
He can't even reply right now because he's crippled.
He's got nothing to say.
What are you talking about? I didn't say that. Why don't you argue with something I said, you dumb bastard?